Hey everybody, it's Jerome Evans, ED of One Voice Mixed Chorus, hanging out with Waigwa, our artistic director, and we're going to talk about our upcoming concert, Royalty, which is at the Ordway Center for Performing Arts on Pride Weekend 2026. Hey Waigwa.
Hello.
Yay. Thanks for sitting down with us again. This was really well received last time when we did protest lines, so I'm interested to see your thoughts. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. If I see your thoughts, I'm hallucinating and you just need to cart me.
There are worse things.
That's fair, that's fair. So what drew you to the theme of Royalty, a concert centered around drag performance?
Well, I really wanted to center drag in some capacity. I feel like when we think of gender, especially in the queer community, we tend to think of like trans folks and non-binary folks. We don't tend to think of ways in which homosexuality has been kind of demonized for its rejection of like gender norms throughout history. And so I thought it would be interesting to just play with gender in general. And so royalty comes from the thought of, yes, drag kings and queens and people who do any sort of like, you know, gender bending performance, but also just to like come from us taking sovereignty of ourselves, of like being able to move through the world and dress and appear and express yourself in the ways that feel most authentically you. And I feel like that doesn't always align with whatever, you know, stereotypical gender norms are, gender expressions.
I would agree with you. How does Royalty honor both individual identity and the collective queer experience?
Well, collective queer experience, I think, is the role of the chorus in this show. And so I picked some songs that I think of as like staples in the queer community. So like Born This Way by Lady Gaga, it was huge. It still continues to be huge. It's still like an anthem in its own right. But I think a lot of the queer movement started in bars with like solo performances. And so coming from like a cabaret style, it's like the birth of Broadway came from that. One of the songs that One Voice performs a lot and very well is called the Lavender Song. And it was from 1920s Germany in the Weimar Republic when there were like queer establishments were kind of thriving. Like the El Dorado was like a prominent one. And so gays and lesbians and trans folks could just go there and celebrate their life, and it wasn't penalized by the state at that point before the Nazi regime. And so like I think the queer tradition has its roots in individual performances with like, you know, like flamboyant dressing up or just like exploring what it is like to not be in the life you normally lead. And so I thought it was important that we had like a cabaret-ish element to let individual singers bring what they wanted to the table. And there we've gotten a variety of different soloists and different things that they have to say that'll be incorporated between all those kind of anthemic staples.
Okay, something to look forward to there. Well, what inspired the structure of blending full choral works with individual solo performances?
I think it's important that we see, kind of going back to this cabaret idea, queer expression has definitely come from that, but it's what's resulted in these anthems. It contains the same idea of, I can be this way, and I can play with these things. And I feel like as a queer chorus, there's a lot of individuals who are coming together for one specific mission. And so this kind of blends both of those ideas, allowing people to be very individual while also contributing to this greater kind of narrative arc.
Can you talk about the song selection process? Oh, that's fun. Yeah, like which anthems? Were there any pieces that you knew you would include from the very beginning?
Born This Way for sure. I knew I was going to include from the very beginning. The song selection process, normally when I put a show together, I have the idea, and then I search and I search and I search and I search and I compile and I like make all these YouTube playlists to like go through and listen to the show all the way through. But when I know it's done, I know it's done. And then I can present it to the chorus. I know it in order. I know all of the emotional beats that it's going to hit. And I kind of know everything going in. And this show's not like that.
Okay.
This show is absolutely nothing like that. It was like, how do you decide what queer staples are, you know? Like, I think it's just as easy for an audience to come and be like, oh, these are exactly the songs I wanted. These are the songs that describe my queer experience. And then it's also possible that they come and they're like, oh, these aren't the ones I would have thought of, because there's so many, I think, songs that have been not co-opted, maybe adopted by the queer community as representative through time. And I feel like that changes all the time. And so this one was like, what makes, what are their arrangements for? What makes the most sense? What can the chorus grasp onto to allow them to do more movement, to allow them to feel really comfortable up on stage and focus more on what they're going to wear and how they want to move and that kind of thing. So it was more of a practical sense of coming up with those anthems. But one piece that I definitely knew I wanted to include from the beginning was sent to me by one of our singers. He's also on the music selection committee, Alan Warrior. And he sent, One Voice had participated in this co-commission of a piece called Quiet No More, which was the 50th celebration of Stonewall.
Okay.
And so it has a piece called Glorious Beauties by Our Lady J. And it's essentially We Won't Back Down is kind of the overall theme of it. But it also makes reference to, there's a narrative section in it that talks about, it's like a reading of someone from like the Mattachine Society of Daughters Abilitas or some are older queer like group when they were trying to fight for like lack of discrimination in workplaces. And then it was like kind of like what affected the civil rights movement of respectability politics. It's like if you're a man, you need to wear your suit and you need to conform so that we are acceptable. Versus like the older generations, like Weimar Republic kinds, where it was like, no, we are valid, we're just different. And that kind of went away at the start of the gay liberation movement. It was like, no, we must conform, because if we can show them we're normal, if we can show them we're like them, then they'll accept us. And so it's kind of a push and pull between those two things in this song, ultimately saying we're gonna be who we are, whether or not you like that. And so that's like a staple song that I knew I needed to include.
Oh, interesting. I don't know that song, but I'm really looking forward to hearing it. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I know a song by One Voice is going to be gorgeous. As the artistic director, what are you most excited for audiences to experience in this program?
I think I'm really excited for them to see the soloists. There were a ton of people who came out to audition, and I made them fill out like a little form that was like, what did they want to explore? Like, what were they thinking of in terms of costuming? Why did they resonate with that song? Why did they pick the song? What did they want to do with the song? And so it was a shame because almost everyone just brought their A game, you know, and it was like, now I have to whittle down to what fits in this show. And so I think getting to see them explore maybe a side of themselves they haven't done before. I think a lot of them are taking some risks. And I think that's inspiring to see someone, you know, stepping out of their normal box. And they'll be coached by our featured guest artist, who's going to be the drag king Dick Von Dyke. And so Dick Von Dyke is going to take time to kind of talk with them, all the soloists, about like their own experience in drag, how they came to drag. Have the soloists will have someone to bounce ideas off of, and then ultimately have some musical and performance coaching on ways that they can amplify the things that they want to amplify and really kind of shape up what they end up bringing to the stage, like in addition to Dick Von Dyke coming to perform like with us and adding their own voice to kind of like a historical look at how we've arrived here in gender diversity and gender deviance. I'm just excited to see how all of them like blossom and grow through this experience.
Have you noticed any elements of this concert that have particularly resonated with the chorus?
I think the chorus, for the most part, One Voice sings a lot of new things. This chorus is known for commissioning new works and trying to popularize them in the choral sphere, is known for taking on music of different cultures and singing in different languages and doing collaborations with a lot of different folks. And that's kind of what we're known for. And so this song is just a lot of songs that people know. And they've really, it's like, especially being a memorized chorus, like it's like, oh, I know all the lyrics to Born This Way. Now I just got to figure out my tenor part, you know?
Yeah.
I think they've really enjoyed having a moment of just being like, oh, I know these songs. Or for some folks who haven't listened to a lot of pop music, at least for a while, it's like, oh, great. You know, I didn't know Billie Eilish made this song, you know, or like, here's Chappell Roan. You know, I think it's really cool to watch some folks discover pop, and then the majority of people just get to settle in and be like, yeah, I know this song.
Well, how do you observe drag as both an art form and an act of resistance?
I always tell people I like really weird drag.
Okay.
And so I think it's really interesting what you can do with the creation of a persona. Like, I think it's a very liberating thing to just be able to create a persona, and you get to put different pieces of your personality in this persona that you make up, and you get to decide. It's sort of like making a film where you get to decide everything that appears within a shot. You get to decide everything that appears on your body, and how you decide to lip sync, or how you decide to sing, what movements you decide to do, and it kind of gets to take you out of what your normal everyday is. And I think that's why I think drag continues to be such an enduring act of resistance. Again, just because the thing that I feel that has caused homosexuality to be so demonized, or being trans to be demonized, is like it's rebellion against gender. It's like, well, you're the wrong sort of woman, or you're the wrong sort of man. I think it's misogyny runs rampant. It's like, you don't want to be a feminine man because that's womanly, and we just have this inherent misogyny that hangs over everything. And so I think when it comes to drag, it's like the boldness to not only betray your gender, so to speak, but to do it so defiantly, to say that I can be whoever I want to be, and this will get a response from, like, you'll get those dollar bills, you know? And people will enjoy that rejection that they see on stage because they can resonate with it, or they can see something they want to be, or something they recognize in somebody that they know and love. Like, I just think the boldness is inspiring. It feels like it rallies you to just be braver in life.
Why do you think a program like this feels important right now?
I feel like it's...
in 30 words or less.
Yeah. Brings out a thesis. I think especially now with trans folks kind of being targeted throughout the country, like, we've had lots of issues of immigration throughout the country in various ways over time since its creation, in the inherent making of the United States, creation of the United States. And so I think we're used to that. And I think we're used to like the give and take of moving forward. But I don't think we've had such a reckoning since the civil rights movement, of like people really kind of being aware of what's happening nationwide and feeling compelled to do something. I think there's like maybe it's like the reason George Floyd spread throughout the country was because we were all stuck in our homes, you know, and watching television. And so it was like a concentrated thing. And I think just through social media, it's becoming so concentrated that it's like this is happening all over the country, not just Kansas, which is obviously like the most prominent kind of state right now with people's licenses being revoked. But I think we're just becoming aware of how we treat other people and systems that have been established for so long that are allowing this to happen. Like, we're just watching it happen in real time in a way that I don't think we have been able to do historically. Like, before it was like a newspaper clipping of people being hosed, and now it's like every day that you see something rolling back, or some decision being made, or watching, you know, someone's healthcare journey and the ways in which the system has let them down. I think we're just so much more aware of it, that I think for the queer community, it's like an interesting time to get both the spotlight and like the crushing weight of a lot of oppression coming at the same time. I think it's just important to have something that does not cater to that kind of empowers us to be who we've always been, despite the changing of time, you know?
It's a reminder.
Yeah.
What do you hope audience members take away with them after experiencing royalty?
Bravery, power. Like, I hope that people walk away energized, and ready to just be more of themselves. I think we could, regardless of being queer or not, I think we'd use a lot more of that.
Hear, hear. Well, thank you for sitting down for these
Thank you.
10 questions. It was very BuzzFeed style, I know. But those responses were incredible. Please attend Royalty this Pride at the Ordway Center for Performing Arts. I think you're going to have an incredible time. See you next time.
Peace.